Anybody want to know where to find these little nuggets of gold? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to party with that guy, because he's got a source. I can tell you right now, you can go online tonight, whip out a credit card and buy a note. Go to auction.com.
Oh, yeah.
Might overpay, but you can go find one, you can buy one right now. Loan MLS, FCI Exchange, there's a bunch of them out there. You can go log in, set up your account. Some of them you have to get vetted with, sign a non-disclosure agreement, all that stuff. You can go do it yourself. Sign up with hedge funds. Some of them will never call you back. Some of them will never respond to you. And they only work with people they want to work with. So some hedge funds, many of them will publish lists regularly, others don't. Got to know people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Relationships are key, okay? So brokers, there's no brokers out there also. Just like any kind of broker, there's some really good, there's some you might want to avoid. The ones you're finding on Craigslist and getting emails from out of the blue or whatever, you want to avoid those. We call them joker brokers. It really makes it's bad aspect of this industry or this sector of real estate investing.
It's just like daisy chaining in the wholesale business.
Yeah, exactly. So you get wholesaler, daisy chains. It's just markup and takes you a while. You ask a question and then suddenly it's 3 days before they get back to you. Can't get answers, things like that. So Jamie sent me a bunch of stuff and I look at it and I'm like, Jamie, you know, this is, you know, I go, I have the same exact tape that I got and, you know, this one's marked up. So let me show you the two side by side.
So I'm testing my sources is what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, anyway. You've heard my comments. I won't repeat them here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. So tapes, pools, tranches, oh my, right? There's a lot of different terminology again with this. So let's go over a couple of them. A tranche, bundling of notes with some common factor, and maybe, you know, whatever the bank decided to do. A pool is a group of notes. Tape is a list of notes, so that's kind of a specific term. A tape is really an Excel spreadsheet of notes. Okay. So we're going to do show an example tape here real quick. Here, got to hit escape. Let me jump in here. So this is an example tape. So this is a tape, and you will see all kinds of information on there. There's usually some sort of loan ID. If you find a tape and that column stripped off of it, chances are you probably have a joker broker on your hands. It's got lots and lots and lots of information on it. So credit scores, liens, all this stuff. Some tapes have a lot of information. This one certainly has a lot. Other tapes don't have quite so much. It depends on your source, quite honestly. And you know, it says, well, there's a balloon payment there. Is it an arm? Someone will say, so anyway. So what we do is we go through, we hand it over to a VA, and we get a bunch of our own information, do a first cut. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. That's a tape, and it's got a bunch of different, I forget how many are on that tape. This is not a huge tape. This is only 20, but I've seen them literally 2,000. But basically, if you're going to do that, you're going to go through that list. You have to have firm criteria, and you have to understand various issues and factors to look for to help weed things out. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Have firm criteria, stand by it, and try not to distract yourself, because it's easy to do. Gary knows. Now, Gary and I are in a note investing group also, so we work these semi together. So one way to do it is what I like to do. I down select the target states immediately and markets, and then sift on other factors. Maybe occupied, if they say whether it's occupied or not, although that's often not accurate. You know, so target states, I might target non-judicial states instead of judicial states. I want to stay away from judicial states, possibly. Other factors, legislation, whether they have hardest hit funds, Maryland, it says it's a, what, a 3 to 5 month foreclosure or whatever it is, but not necessarily. Look at other factors, cost versus BPO, loan to value, unpaid balance versus cost. Again, what I'm planning on paying for it. The PI, principal and interest payment versus cost. So if they started reperforming at that value of PI, what would that equate to an ROI for me? I mean, I do quick Excel spreadsheet things and figure out whether something really is worth it looking any further or not. And then it's a numbers game. Flush the stuff you don't want and focus only on the stuff you do, because you can waste a lot of time. You can waste a lot of time running around people who don't really want to sell their house, right, Dale? You know, the home investors back there. So you want to make sure you spend your time accurately and effectively. Tax is another one that you want to make sure you look at as best you can. And there's a lot of other factors. I won't bore you with all these, but it's just a kind of a longer list, and that is not by no means comprehensive. Go ahead. So a table example, bulk analysis. I was going to go ahead and do that real quick.
On the taxes, you know, if you get asked, if you want to call the city, call the county, make sure the property was not sold at a tax sale. So you definitely want to call and find out the property was not sold previously.
Okay, so what I did here, same thing. I'm just going to speak to it. I'm not going to go through specific details of what I did, how I did it. Basically, I sifted on target markets that I liked. This is the original tape. I sifted on target markets that I liked, so you see that's a much shorter list now. I threw out Illinois. I liked Missouri, but I also threw out Gideon, Missouri is a rural place. I'm from Missouri, so I went, nah, I don't want that one. So again, I'm sifting on markets. And then I started sifting from there and doing detailed analysis based on what I had out of all this gobbledygook over here. Rents, all those other things, right? To get to a first cut. Then I'm going to look at, these are the ones I'm making offers on, okay? And decide what offer I want to make on those. And then then my offers are accepted, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and then I go to work on those in more detail. So, but right here is where I do a good bit of detailed analysis on these, maybe start making phone calls, etc., to decide so I can figure out what to bid. So, okay, so basic node analysis, again, I really meant individual or node analysis, but again, have firm criteria. Do not deviate from it. There's going to be another one. If you're really, really hard up, you can expand them out just like anybody. You're going to do that, but try to be disciplined, because you can just start making bad decisions. You know, everybody knows that. They say you do internet-based research to get to the first cut, and those are the types of things: values, rents, taxes, crime, other factors, whatever it might be, whatever's in, whatever you know that can help you understand that market even better. And then identify exit strategies to narrow your list to a few. And then, go ahead, Jamie, put bids on. You're going to place what's called an indicative bid with a hedge fund. It's kind of an industry term. Basically, you're going to make a bid. And you'll usually get a counter bid back, or, and I've had this phone call, an indication that, oh, yeah, this is Val. Yeah, there's 3 guys above you, and one of them's at 9,000, and the other one's at 7,500, and I'm like, Val, this asset's only worth $5,000, so I'm out, you know. So this was some real low balance stuff that was floating around. I thought I might take a stab at. But, so you can adjust your bids if you got it backed up with good due diligence. We'll talk a little more about that. Speed's key, though, but relationships also count. You got to do this quickly, because there are those 10, 15, 20 other guys getting their bids in. And if you're slow, even if you have a great relationship with them, they got to make a decision and sell. Everybody knows this. I mean, real estate, I mean, the wholesalers out there, you got to get to that person, get an offer to them so they can make a decision and decide to sell to you. So, now here's a real life example. These are the ones that we actually settled on these prices yesterday, and we're going to be closing in the next couple days, right? So our original bid was that much, 42,000, blah, 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 right? So we revised our bid. There was our original accepted bid. We did our due diligence. We revised our bids downward, okay? They countered by asking for $2,000 more. And we decided to apply that to only one asset because I figured that one was the biggest moneymaker, and I wasn't going to apply $500 to an $8,800 asset. My ROI for that asset would have gone down, and I'd have explaining to do to my investor, right? So our final price was this, and I paid a broker fee of $500 per to a legitimate broker, not a joker broker that just marked this thing up and is asking for money because he happened to send me an email, a spreadsheet, and an email. Forget about it, I'm not doing that. So my original price, I was aggressive because I was losing bids. I was putting bids in and not winning any of them. So I was like, I know these are good assets. I'm going to bid more. So I bid on 10 of those. You saw my other list. I won 5. I figured that's a pretty good deal. I won half of them, all right? We did our due diligence and we backed out of one. We decided that one, too risky. There were some legal issues. There had been some lawsuits. The person clearly had a good lawyer and had fought off foreclosure a couple times already. And I'm like, you know what? Not unless they can really drop the price a lot. And actually, we're still waiting back on an answer. We might still get that one if they accept a greatly, greatly reduced price. So our final price to BPO was 51%. I bought it for half of what they thought it was. I'm going to. I haven't bought it yet. So percent of real price, I got about another 10% discount for diving in and doing my due diligence. It cost me a little bit of money to do that, and a little bit of stomach acid, but my revised final price is 35% of my fair market value. And I went out and paid for new BPOs that are recent, that showed, some of them showed the value is a little higher. Some of them showed it was not as high as I thought it was from my internet research, okay? And we even drove that neighborhood, the one in Baltimore, and we did a CMA, and we thought it was worth $50,000. I went, hey, okay, I'll pay on that one. Came back, nah, it's really probably only worth 30. Almost dropped it, decided to stick with it, asked for a lower price. We'll work through it, and we'll make money. It won't be a ton of money, we'll make money. So, go ahead. So, once your bid is accepted, quickly get a BPO. I'm talking like that hour. Go order your BPOs, have your order ready. Go get an O&E report, have your order ready for your O&E reports. Okay, go get them and make sure you get them within 24 hours if you can.
Hey, the people that don't know what
Oh, BPO, broker price opinion, right? Place online, you can go get these, you can order them online. Somebody will go out to that house in the middle of Podunk, wherever, south side Chicago. They might not go there, but okay. An O&E report, ownership and encumbrances. Everybody know what a title search is? This is kind of like a title search, but it's a title search light. It goes back to the date that the loan started because it assumes the title search that was in place for that and the title insurance is in place still covers you. You're the own that note. That still covers you. The O&E goes back to that point and tell you what liens and things are on there, taxes owed, all that stuff. There's several different places you can get those. Check taxes owed and next tax sale. So Sean back there will call for us, find out, because sometimes you can't get it online or sometimes what's online is not accurate. I ran into that. Showed taxes owed. I had a nasty surprise earlier this year that it was actually $13,500 tax lien on that property, but it's working out. It'll be all right. That's why other people are staying away from it, so I actually lucked out. And then do a thorough collateral file review. Okay, what's a collateral file? Collateral file is that document, all those documents you sign when you buy your house? That and some other stuff is what make up the collateral file. It can be hundreds and hundreds of pages. And you usually get it electronically. You're not going to get the actual file while you're in this bidding process. And you go through it. So, should we show them a quick collateral file? So this is, how do we fix for time?
When they all fall asleep?
No, we're not putting anybody to sleep. Okay, so this is an actual collateral file from one of those we just talked about.
this is just for one asset.
This is one asset, and it comes in the form of a whole bunch of freaking TIFF images. and/or PDFs, et cetera. Now, a lot of this is redundant. I don't know why they put 4 copies of the same thing in there, but then I'm left to wade through it. This is what's called an abstracts report. Abstracts is a company that you can get these from. I actually like some other companies, some of the reports I've seen better. But this tells you a lot of things like transfer conveyance information, what mortgages are on it, et cetera, liens, all that stuff that is essential for you to know, what the taxes owed on. And I had one other thing. Oh, this is a BPO that we ordered on that particular asset. The bank thought it was worth, I forget how much, but we realized it was worth more. So, anyway, good for us, right? And we also, this is a BPO merge, 3. So I actually have a best case, worst case. And then I go back to them, I go, hey, look, my worst case BPO was this. So if you only got one of these, and I happen to have the guy who had a happy day and was just thinking everything, was roses, has his road-colored sunglasses on, I'm not as good a position. I have this better. It's worth the extra $50 to have a better negotiation. I save myself thousands of dollars just by spending 50. But you got to spend money to what, Sid?
So get you all your flowers and stuff.
Got to spend money to make money.
So you can be the bank.
So I can be the bank. So closing and funding, basically where I talk counter offers. Most hedge funds want to close in 7 to 10 days. I know others that want to close in 3. So you got to have your ducks in a row and be ready to make those wires. And some will give you a 30-day take-back guarantee if there's something that's completely whack, bad information from the county and it actually went to tax sale, whatever it is. There's something wrong with the collateral file that you didn't know, there's a piece of, whatever it is, there's some redemption there. And that's also part of that relationship process. If you have good relationships with these people, you're going to be able to have some leverage or have some wherewithal to accomplish that, rather than be stuck, right? But if you sit on it and did nothing for like 2 months and came back with, hey, you know what? They're going to be like, go away. So what's next? Everybody, woohoo, I got one, right? Where do you go, woohoo? Woohoo. All right. So now what the heck do I do? Oh yay, oh crap. So first thing to do is set up with an NPN servicer. If you're buying these, you should have somebody already talked to, already selected that you're going to do. You have to call them, ask them what their prices are, figure out who you can work with. And again, it's a relationship type thing, and you want to know that you can work with these people. Sometimes you might want to stay with the one that it's with speed of execution. Like these ones that we're buying them from the servicer doesn't work with small investors. You have to have at least, I forget, 200 loans or something like that. Well, we don't have 200 loans in our portfolio, so we're going to go to the one we know. And so they do all that hello, goodbye letters, notice of intent to foreclose, forbearance agreements, mods. They take care of all that stuff. It keeps you legal. This guy's got his own guy's doing his own work out of a garage in Florida or something like that, but I'm going to stick with my method. So, use a file management storage company. This also helps you because if something happened, if I had it in, propping my feet up under my desk for it or whatever, my dog came and ate it, flood happened, fire happened, that file is now gone, and I don't have any proof that I ever had it. And it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to repair it, like dollars per page, right? For that file repair company to do that, they can do it, and it's just a huge hassle. It could take days, weeks or months, and so it's worth $1 a month to have somebody store that file for you. $1 a month, okay? Well worth it. They keep it in a vault in like mountains of Missouri somewhere, right? Well out of a nuclear blast zone. So, who wants to know how to make the money? Who wants to know how to make money? Okay. So here's our exits again, right? We're going to scratch those off the list for now. And we're going to talk about a couple. So deal examples of some note exits. And I got 2 or 3 here. So we're not going to drag this out too much longer. So let's talk a couple, how to wholesale a note. I figure anybody here there's gonna be some wholesalers here, somebody wants to know how to wholesale a note. Okay, we'll talk about how to wholesale a note. Okay, so how do you wholesale a note? Really, you're not gonna go get a joker broker email and go, hey, I'm gonna send it on to the other people and put another 1% on it, or 0.5%, or $50 each, or whatever it is. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I will be personally hurt if I find out anybody else doing that. Okay. So, what we could have done with this ones we are doing here is gone out, got some other investors. Let's say Jamie said, Dan, I like those notes. I like the first two, and Gary liked the second two, and what's your name? Brian, you like that last one, okay, in Warren, Ohio. And we said, okay, great. We're going to put bids in for all you guys. And then I negotiate it down. What I get it down about how much? About 10%. Okay? I get that in. I get the money from them. I pay them. I pay it back out. So I kind of haven't handled it. So the wire transfer thing and who's paying is a little bit different than your traditional wholesaling and closing. So it gets a little bit funky to try to wholesale a note, unless you're doing all a whole stack, let's say just Jamie, or something like that. But you can do it, especially if it's a bigger pool. And if you're actually owning some of them, you can kind of wholesale the other ones out because you're going to own part of them and then not the others. But let's say I did that. So I would make what? About, because they're going to pay me one price and I negotiated it down. So how much am I going to make?
Whatever you negotiate.
About 10%. And my ROIs are going to be 5 to 20%, whatever I negotiate it down to, right? So, but you got to be fast, got to be quick.
But that tends to work more when you have a larger pool, like 20, 30, 40 assets. When you only got 4 or 5, that doesn't work as much.
Right, so some people bid on a whole tape, right? Maybe 100 assets. And they know they only want 1/3 of them or half of them. So they collaborate with some other investors, or they get that whole tape and then they basically start trying to market the other ones out before they even buy it. And then they get buyers and it's kind of like, okay, well, don't send it to me, send it to that guy. Well, and so it gets a little complicated with the money pan, wow, with the payment, but this is how it works. Go ahead, Jamie. So reperforming a note. So we want to talk about an actual real deal going down right now, right this minute, in process, okay? This isn't hypothetical. There's one I own personally. Debt, total debt, that actually is 70,000 unpaid balance, actually with arrears. Okay, so her actual unpaid balance is 51,000. So the 6.5% rate is where I saw that there was a mod in the file, but the management company did not see it, and they swore up and down that it had not been modded, and I believed them. I don't know why I did that, but it turns out their interest rate is already had a mod, but that's okay because it was a balloon and it's actually going to work out better for me. Okay, so it was also I thought the taxes were paid because my online research said the taxes were paid, and turns out there's a tax lien certificate on it that I didn't know about, $13,500, which kept people away. Guess what? She's on a payment plan. She only owns $2,400. Okay, so there was a few dicey moments in this one, but I purchased it at what I thought was 50% of market value, fair market value. It was valued at $52,000 in January of this year with the BPO, the external BPO, single BPO that was provided to me. So that was 37% of unpaid balance of the total balance. Again, it's my boarding costs add up to $1,400, and I just did a forbearance agreement with this person, which means I'm not going to foreclose on her. She asked for a mod, and I'm like, not so fast. You haven't been paying for I don't know how long. You've defaulted on 2 loans now. You asked for a mod, got a mod, then defaulted again. Maybe not quite yet. I said, you want to restart, $5,000. She's smart. She says, this is actually an investment property. She's got a Section 8 renter in there. Okay? That she's only raised the rent $60 in 10 years. I don't know what this woman's thinking, and she can't afford to sell it, to have this house yet. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe they're friends of hers. Okay? So, She said, can I spread it over 4 months? I said, absolutely. No problem. Out of the kindness of my heart, I will allow you to do that. I said, you're gonna start paying me $390 a month. That's actually, when I thought her payment was, real payment was $477, and the management company came back and went, yeah, we made a mistake. We were wrong, and the people, we were wrong only because the other people told us, the wrong information, but it's actually 303. I'm okay, well, whatever, I'm fine. So my monthly costs right now are $81 a month because it's $80 a month for the component servicer, meaning the company that's servicing a defaulted loan. It's called a component servicer, and $1 a month for the storage. Now that I got her paying, okay, I'm planning on selling this note for $36,000, even though it's still under forbearance agreement. So I'm going to get my $5 grand through January, and I'm going to look for somebody who wants to buy it for $36,000. I'm actually going to ask for more, but don't tell anybody. I'll go down to 36. Okay. So what's my ROI? 36 plus 5 plus $900 for the 3 months of $309. Yada 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 yada. 53% in 9 months if I do manage to sell that in January for my asking price. Anybody got a problem with that? Anybody?
Now, how many hours did you put into this?
Well, this one, more than I wanted to.
How many?
But I would say if I had to do this one over again the next time, I'd probably put 10 hours into it. Now, I'm doing this one in my personal self-directed IRA. Great place to do longer term stuff. If you don't have the time, that 10 hours to work on it, come to me and Sid. We'll help you out and help you gain the benefit without all the pain and suffering. Okay?
You're also doing it in your pajamas, sitting at your desk, at home.
Were you watching?
Not on the website.
How did you know? And I didn't, I actually almost got a paper cut in the process, but I didn't smash my thumb with a hammer. Okay, much safer. Okay? Okay, so next one. So maximizing success. Okay, so these are these examples. How do we do even better? There's ways to do better in this. Government programs, hardest hit funds. FHA 1023 refi, that's actually a short refi is the correct term. So partnerships, again, I maximize success by having good partnerships with other active note investors, like Ken, or this guy, or maybe Gary, okay? Any other note people in here? Okay, you, what's your card? Real estate agents, RIO, short sale specialists, it's how I'm going to help enable my exit strategies, subject to investors. Understanding laws is one example, safe harbor laws of Florida. You're like, Florida condo, why would I do that? I got to pay all these back condo fees. Safe harbor law in Florida, I only have to pay 1% of the original purchase price or 1 year worth of condo fees, whichever is lower. Okay? I got a note if you want to buy it. We'll trade maybe. Okay. So, deal example. Let's do reperforming a note, the one we did earlier, and the grand slam on it. The grand slam is 3 guys on base, right? And I hit that home run. The home run to me is reperforming a note, right? I showed you how that was, what, 94% ROI? To me, grand slams, I get 3 guys on base and then hit that home run. So first guy on base is hardest hit fund, okay? Florida hardest hit fund. You're familiar with it? I'm sure you are. Semi? Okay, so if somebody lost their job and they're unable to go back, they couldn't pay on their mortgage, they got their job back, they get up to $25,000 to restart paying on their loan. You know where that money comes from? 25 grand. You know where that money comes from? Or goes to? I mean, you know where it goes to? Okay? Half goes to my investor. Half goes to me, because we do 50-50 joint venture investment. So that money, half of that money right up front, boom, first thing before I even try to get them to perform again, I try to get them qualified for hardest hit funds. Okay?
Now keep, we only bought that for 33. So if you only buy it for 30, you get 25 back from the government.
Yeah, so 25 back, investment's almost paid for. So boarding, $500. Mod fee, no, I'm not modding it. No restart fee, I'm gonna let them go on that. I'm not even gonna ask them for now, because I'm not sure actually 100% whether hardest hit fund negates that or not, so I'm just leaving it off for now. Resume full payment. Guy went, oh yeah, broke my knee, lost my job, knee's better, now I can work, I want to start paying again. I can pay you full price. I even got a better job than I had before. He's going to start paying me back his full $600. Okay, that's just PI. The taxes and insurance are not our problem until, well, but my monthly expenses are low, 26, 27 bucks. Ongoing cash flow then, if I were, is 20.6 if I was to hold it. My first year is 91% because of that $25,000. First year cash flow, 91%. Swing. Okay, so now I season the note for 12 months or more, and I sell it for 58.8K, blah, 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 or, like we did the other one, okay, or after 3 months and a 530 credit score, they qualify for an FHA 1023 refi. 3 months, okay, down the road. That refi, the rules are, if I forgive a certain amount of debt, they will refinance that property at 97.5% of fair market value, which just went up 10% because of our magic. Well, no, because we're broke. And it's 68,250. So in 3 months, they're going to refi out for 68,250. What'd I buy it for? Okay, so just the hardest hit funds ROI equates to this, 170% ROI in 12 months. Okay? If I add to that icing on the cake, okay, or no, that's the icing on the cake. After I hit the Grand Slam, I get Grand Slams and cakes. If I do that, if I add the FHA ROI and they refi out in 6 months, you got to board it, takes a little bit of time, yada yada. 183% ROI in 6 months or less. 183%. These numbers do not lie. And this is, again, forgiving their debt from 100 down to 70 or 77, whatever fair market value was, right?
And most of the larger
Anybody
banks,
happy about that?
most of the larger banks won't give up a lot of the debt. So if you haven't paid for 12 months or 18 months, they're going to take that money and put it onto the back end of it. And because we're the bank, we have a lot more control, so we can say, hey, look, we'll waive a certain amount of debt, and then you become performing again.
I can make some very magnanimous decisions since I bought it so cheaply. Why would I make that person so look at if I had to foreclose on this asset. Where am I at now? I'm hoping Gary's going to show up to the auction because I know Gary pays really good prices, right? Okay, and is Gary going to pay how much? He might pay 63, okay, but I also cost me $5 grand to get there and 12 months in Florida, okay? So instead of, so I'm at 63 minus $5,000, I'm below this amount already, and I haven't gotten any cash flow in that process. I mean, so I'm not as good. And then what happens at Gary's on the Flip This House show, and they show him when he goes in the door, and what happens when he's either saying what? Oh my God, yay, or oh crap, because oh my God, it's one of Jamie's properties, it's not Gary's property. Gary's going yay, and then Jamie goes in there and is like, then she goes home and writes an email to everybody about it. Right? So the risk, that's risky, right? I mean, you don't know actually what was in that house. So having to foreclose on a house and take it is not really what you want to do, right?